On April 4th, 1983, film actress Gloria Swanson died.
From Gloria Swanson, whose Hollywood career started before World War I and who seldom looked back.
Most news stations across the country eulogized her the same way.
But her most memorable performance came in 1950, when she portrayed the aging, mad movie star Norma Desmond.
It wasn't Nora Desmond, it was Norma Desmond.
That's correct.
And it was Gloria Swanson.
Today, it's hard to fathom the fame of silent-era film stars like Swanson. In the years before the widespread adoption of radio and the invention of television and talking pictures, silent films were the most popular form of entertainment. And because silent films were a universal medium, a simple translation of a title card meant a film could be shown in any country, Gloria Swanson became one of the biggest and most glamorous stars in the world. Between 1914 and 1943, she appeared in nearly 70 films and short subjects. She was named the most fashionable woman in the world. Got herself a title when she married a marquis. Okay, girl. She was the epitome of a movie star. She was a larger-than-life screen personality. She set fashion trends for women everywhere. And when tickets to the theater were a nickel, her films regularly grossed over $1 million.
When I say a movie star, I still think of Gloria Swanson.
She was also an astute businesswoman who founded her own production company. She even turned down a $1 million a year contract with Paramount to join the newly created United Artists. And although she weathered the shift from silent to talking pictures,
Oh, you have no right to speak to me like that. No right. And even if it were true, it's only what you did.
earning an Academy Award nomination for the film Trespasser in 1929, by 1934 her career was dead. By 1950, she was a mostly forgotten film actress, until Sunset Boulevard. And while today Gloria Swanson's performance is iconic, it also had an effect of altering the public's perception of her life and her career. In essence, Gloria Swanson and Norma Desmond kind of became one person,
Don't be silly.
with audiences often confusing the delusional, stuck-in-the-past, washed-up Norma with Gloria Swanson. And that could not be further from the truth. Now, if you've never seen Sunset Boulevard, directed by Billy Wilder, with the screenplay by Wilder, Charles Brackett, and the often overlooked D.M. Marshman Jr., Sunset Boulevard tells the story of a faded silent film star.
Wait a minute, haven't I seen you before? I know your face. You're Norma Desmond.
Who hires a struggling screenwriter named Joe Gillis to help her write her comeback screenplay.
It's a story of Salome. I think I'll have DeMille direct it.
As Joe becomes more involved in Norma's delusional world, he realizes that her desire to return to the big screen is only leading to tragedy. The film explores the themes of Hollywood's dark side, obsession, the price of fame, and the fickle nature of stardom.
Norma Desmond!
Why, I thought she was dead.
How nice to see you.
Welcome home, Mister. You remember?
You know the people are terrified of me because of that role? That isn't me at all. People, ask me if Sunset Boulevard was my own life, which is rather odd. There are no dead bodies in my pool, or swimming pool.
Norma Desmond is a complex character, a faded star whose once great career has been relegated to obscurity. She is deeply delusional, believing that her past fame and talent is still relevant, despite the fact that the world has moved on. At the beginning of the film, Norma is introduced as someone who is desperate to make a comeback.
Why do they beg me for my photographs? Why? Because they want to see me, Norma Desmond.
She's convinced the world is waiting for her return. She's deeply flawed, but also very sympathetic in some ways. She's been abandoned by the industry that made her famous, and she's unable to accept that she's no longer the young and beautiful starlet.
She must be 1,000,000 years old.
She surrounds herself with reminders of her past glory, including photographs of herself. We're talking lots and lots of photographs of herself. She lives cocooned in the past in a decaying mansion filled with relics. I mean, an interior designer hasn't touched the place since probably 1927. And she's disdainful of the modern era, especially the modern movie industry, which for her peaked during the silent era.
They took the idols and smashed them. The Fairbankses, the Gilberts, the Valentinos. We didn't need dialogue. We had faces. Talk, talk, talk.
But Norma is also a manipulator, and she's controlling. When she hires Joe Gillis to help her write her script, she believes this will be her ticket back to fame. And Joe underestimates Norma because he thinks he's using her.
I felt kind of pleased with the way I'd handled the situation.
But she uses her wealth and power to control him and keep him in her orbit. As the film progresses, Norma's mental state deteriorates. She becomes increasingly erratic and paranoid, convinced that everyone is out together, and she is ultimately driven to murder. Culminating in the film's famous final scene. Norma's decline is terrifying, but it's also heartbreaking. And Swanson's performance is the perfect balance of melodrama and realism. However, the impact of Sunset Boulevard went beyond the film. Gloria was just too good. The role blurred the lines between the actress and the character she played, forever linking Gloria Swanson with the tragic figure of Norma Desmond. The degree of identification that audiences made between the character and the actress was aided by the screenplay, which was a clever blend of reality and fiction, using real-life Hollywood locations like Schwab's drugstore and filming on the Paramount lot and on Paramount sound stages, and also using images and references drawn from Swanson's own professional life. And then layered on top of that was Wilder's use of Swanson's own films as Norma Desmond's. This one, Queen Kelly, was in fact directed by Erich von Stroheim, who plays Max the Butler, the one-time director/husband of Norma Desmond. Swanson herself was a huge star at Paramount, and when she says this,
Tell him without me, he wouldn't have any job, because without me, there wouldn't be any Paramount studio.
You're right, Miss Desmond.
that is also true. Her films with Cecil B. DeMille were wildly successful. And her history with the director is something that is shared with Norma.
Hello, young fella.
Hello, Mr. DeMille.
Swanson herself acknowledged the impact that the role had on her public image, stating in an interview, "I was Norma Desmond for a long time. After that picture came out, nobody wanted to know anything else about me." The distortion of Swanson's public image as a result of her role in Sunset Boulevard isn't unique to her. Many actors have become synonymous with one particular character or role, to the point where it's difficult for the public to separate the person from the part. I think another spectacular example of this is Gregory Peck as Atticus Finch. In the 1950s, there was a resurgence of interest in the silent era and the 1920s.
Singing in the rain.
Fueled in part by a sense of nostalgia and a desire to escape from the conformity and repression of post-war America.
Now, let us take the Roaring '20s, gaiety and a sense of freedom and abandonment was everywhere in the world, and everybody seemed to have a feeling of freedom. That doesn't exist today.
But unlike the sunny, rosier views of the past, Sunset Boulevard's message was that nostalgia for the past could be dangerous and destructive. By casting Swanson as a character who is trapped in the past and unable to adapt to the new age, Swanson inadvertently reinforced the idea that she herself was a relic of a bygone era, which in the case of Gloria Swanson couldn't have been further from the truth.
You know, I really don't like to talk about the past, because I've had, well, so much of it, I suppose.
Swanson was always very forward-focused, and her interest ranged from health and fitness to sculpting and painting. She had her own fashion and cosmetics line in the 1950s, and following the release of Sunset Boulevard, when no other quality roles came her way, except carbon copy Norma Desmond types, she stepped away from the screen and she never looked back. She said in her biography, Swanson on Swanson, published in 1980, "I could obviously go on playing it being Norma, in its many variations for decades to come, until at last I became some creepy parody of myself, or rather of Norma Desmond. A shadow of a shadow." And her portrayal of Norma Desmond is iconic. But Gloria Swanson was not Norma Desmond. And it's a testament to her skill as an actress, as a great actress, that sometimes it becomes hard to separate the woman from the fiction.
I'm getting a little fed up being referred to as a silent picture actress.
Oh, I see.
After all these years.
There are 8 million stories in the cinema cities. This has been one.